Sharon, what is going on? How are we doing?
I actually had COVID starting on Christmas Day, and I'm still recovering.
Merry Christmas,
from
right?
COVID. I know, and what a way to start the new year. But yeah, so I actually, just went through like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was literally a 12. Like that's how bad it was, and I never get sick, but I'm just like mentally and physically just so exhausted because it was just so draining and. Just being stuck in a room the whole for 2 weeks, and you have all these goals in mind. Like you want to start the new year with all these goals, and you have plans. And I feel like everything got kind of put on hold. So like, just kind of asking what your opinion is, like what you think. How could I get myself like back on track just to get back to kind of normal almost, like after COVID?
Yeah, man, you just gave me like 10 different shows worth of material just here. All right, so number one, you didn't slightly get derailed. Your whole 2021 got blown up before it started, right? You're that kid.
Yes.
I don't know if you weren't in Cub Scouts, but they have the Pinewood Derby where they make these fancy cars and they all get in a line on these ramp and they let them go. Yours is the one kid that got stuck right when they dropped it, and all the other kids went down and looked all smooth and pretty, and your car sucked. It just got stuck there, right? It went nowhere.
Yes.
And so there's number one. You got to be honest about what happened. You got blowed up before you even got to go up. I'm gonna trademark that. That's probably the smartest rap kind of thing I said today. You got blowed up before you got to go up. Number two, how honest do you want me to be with you? Because you Sharon, sound like a really kind person, like a lovely human, and I can play high level or I can be super blunt and Jocko Willenick with you. I can just be direct. Which one?
I would like for you to be as honest as possible. I mean, because like I'm a very like social person, and I've been out of work since then. I'm a flight attendant, so it's just been so hard because I've been in my bubble this whole time.
Yeah.
And just getting out, even socializing. I got to learn to. It's just been weird. I just feel like I'm in a weird place in life right now, and
yes.
Just exhausted.
Okay, so I'm going to walk you through real fast. Everything in a nutshell, and I want you to just hold your breath while I do it, okay?
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Almost a year, we'll say 9 to 10 months of varying stories between if you get this, you're going to be dead, it's not a big deal, what's going to happen, and you're a flight attendant, so am I going to get laid off? Am I going to get to keep my job? What are we going to do? Oh, I've got to be on this plane. They're making me fly with all these people. We're all going to get sick. We're all going to die. Oh my gosh, and I love my friend, but I kissed that boy. He's probably got it. He's probably going to die. Every sniffle for the last 9 months. You thought, oh, this is it. This is death, right? And then I want to hang out with people. It's not that big a deal. We're in Atlanta. It's not even in the South, so they say. So we're all good in Atlanta. And then get it, on freaking Christmas, right? And then you start thinking backwards to all the people I was around. Did I hurt somebody else? Because that's the other thing, right? It's not only I might have it and be hurting other people, not even mean to, but someone else is going to get sick and die because of me. And then it goes over and over, and I blew up my family's Christmas plans and my friends' plans. And what about 2021? I got this new journal with all these freaking ribbons in it that was going to help me on my day planner, journal, and month and goals. And it all just blows up, and you are super, super sick all by yourself in a bed on Christmas Day. And so there's one word for that, and it's just called trauma, okay? And there's so many influencers on the Instagrams being like, dude, I had it for 24 hours. It was no big deal. Woo! Or there's newscasters being like, everyone's died, right? The reality is, for some people, it's not a big deal. And for others, it is the scariest, terrifying thing. I've got friends at work. I've got friends in my family. I got friends in my family. I got family members. I've had people who have had it not that bad. I've had people that were terrified, right? It is what it is.
It was definitely scary.
You got real scared, right? There you go. And you probably, like my idiot self, you probably went to the internet to see what I could do and what would happen, and then they just really fanned the flame of joy, right? Because what else are you going to do when you're stuck in a room by yourself?
Right. And I never...
Go ahead.
I never, and that's another thing, like, I never get sick. So that's why I think it, like, really hit me hard, because, like, I actually had to go to the doctor twice, and I was so sick. Like, I honestly did not think I was going to make it because my breathing was so bad.
Yep.
And, like, it just hit me, like, oh, my gosh, this is real.
And then you start thinking,
like,
oh, I don't ever get sick, but I did this time. I'm going to be one of the ones, and right? So all I have to say is your brain is trying to do the best it can to take care of you. And your year got blown up at the end and at the beginning. The one holiday that you've had since you were a little girl that everyone just goes, that got blown up. Your work got blown up. Your health got blown up. Everything just blew up. And so what I want you to do, and this is going to sound ridiculous, just go with me on it, okay? I want you to hold some sort of miniature funeral for what was going to be. Okay? And you can be as funny about this. You can get a glass of wine and get some friends on Zoom and y'all can be silly about it, or you can be teary and weepy about it. Okay? But I want you just to be honest about it. I want you to have a moment, a ceremony, a moment of just check in and pause where you're going to grieve what just happened. Because it sucks. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not just that you got COVID and got really, really sick. It's all of it. All the scary, all of the year, it all culminated and it all just goes boom right there on your body. Right? And then you had to sit for 2 weeks alone, sick alone. There's nothing worse than being alone. There's nothing worse than being sick alone, right? With just screens and sleep and screens and a doctor and then almost death and then, right? So it's just on and on. And then you have to let this fantasy of what 2021 was going to be go. And then I'm going to give you some joy, okay?
Okay.
There is a wonderful saying by the great, they're the great meditating gurus, but that every breath is a chance to start over. Right? Every breath is a chance to start over. And so I don't want to undermine what just happened. It's a big deal. And your body's wrecked because of it. And that means your heart and your soul and your spirit's wrecked of it. Hold the funeral. Acknowledge what was. Acknowledge what blew up in your face. And then say, it's Tuesday, January, whatever. I'm starting today. Right? Now I'm going to start 2021, however late we are. And hey, after what happened the last few weeks with the all the stupid stuff going on in the country with politics and all that, why not start late? Right?
That's true.
So good.
Got that right.
You're beating the system here. So way to go. So you now have a level of empathy for the scared people that you're going to be walking up and down the aisle with in your work. You're going to have a new level of empathy for folks that you work with who haven't got it yet, who are terrified they're going to get it. You have a new level of empathy of what it's like to be just freaking alone. You have a new level of empathy for what getting sick looks like, the difference between media coverage, right? What's real and what's not. You now have an insight to that you didn't have before. Would you want it? Did you want to experience it? No, but you have it now, right? And that is a firm, beautiful foundation of empathy, love, compassion. And now there's no stopping me. Now you had it. Now you had it. Now it's on 2021, right? Now Sharon from Atlanta, game on, sister. I'm going to go get it, right?
Yeah.
And now you can do whatever you want. And you can... you just pictured, like, I just pictured like a whole sunshine after you said that. That's what it is, man.
So true. I didn't even look at it that way. Like, definitely, because there's other people that are going through, especially after holidays. Okay,
don't do that. Okay, Sharon, don't do that. Don't compare your situation to somebody else. Well, at least I didn't have that. Right? Don't do that. Your grief is your grief is your grief. You get to own it. It sucked. It was. If you got COVID for 48 hours and you just had weird boogers, right? And rocket diarrhea, and that's it. And you have a friend who went to the hospital and she was put on a ventilator for 4 days before she got to come home. Both of you have a right to your hurt, okay? Don't minimize it. Don't minimize it and don't be like, well, you're right. Other people in other countries have food. Don't do that. That's why I want you to hold a ceremony for what happened to you. Okay?
Okay.
Hold it. It was what it was. And then, yes, the sun comes up. And it may not come up on the landscape we wanted. It may not come up in the home that we wanted. It may not come up in the at the school that we wanted to be at. It may not come up with the guy that we thought we were going to be, whatever the thing is, but the sun always comes up. It always comes up. And then we go back to what the ancient meditators would say is every breath is a chance to start over. And I've been guilty of like, man, it's May. I've blown this year. I can't wait till New Year's, right? I'm going to start over New Year's. That's so stupid. I blew a whole year, man. So all you lost was 3 weeks. Man, you were in it to win it. By the way, can I, Sharon, I want to thank you for that call. Here's what I want you to do. After your funeral, I want you to shoot me a note back, and I'm going to read what your note is after you have this miniature funeral. Again, it can be funny. It can be serious. I want you to let that go. The fantasy of 2021 is going to be pop rocks and fireworks and flowers and all. It's not. It sucked. I got COVID. I was stuck in bed and I almost died. But now the sun's coming up, and what are we going to make of it, right? And then I want to hear what you're going to do. I want to hear what you're going to write down. Here's the person I'm going to be in 2021. More empathetic, more loving, more looking people in the eye and saying, I see you for the first time. That's going to be awesome. And then here's, man, this gets me a little bit ranty, and I won't because I want to wrap the show up here. But you guys, I talk a lot about... you got to match your pictures with words, right? We often use the same words and we mean different things. COVID is a great example about how different disciplines use the same words and then they run off into the woods with totally different meanings. If you guys remember back in February or March of last year when this thing started making its way around the world, I was in Manhattan when they closed Broadway. I was on Broadway with my friend Ken Coleman. We were walking down Broadway when they walked out and said, Broadway's canceled. And we both looked at each other like, that doesn't sound super great. And they said, canceled until further notice. And no one had ever heard of anything like that ever happening. So we were downtown New York when this thing started falling like a bunch of dominoes. And there were some modeling experts, some epidemiologists, some modeling folks who made some predictions early on at university science labs. And again, labs, some of you guys think of labs with beakers. Some labs have people in them. Some labs have computers in them. So I'm using the word liberally here. Liberally, that's right. Yeah. And they said, hey, we think 13, 14 million people are going to die, or whatever wild number it was. So here's the thing. In science, when they say, I think this, for scientists, that means game on. Because the whole practice of science is based on iron sharpens iron, peer review. Oh yeah, I am going to reject your null hypothesis. I'm going to go try to find out where you're wrong. I'm going to look in the gap. And then shortly, a few weeks later, it had been revised down. We think 7 million people. So those folks took those new models, new information, new data, and they're making new models, and they're reducing, and they're getting better and better and better. So science has a built-in mechanism, when it's honest with itself, for, I think this, here's my hypothesis, here's what I think is going to happen. And then all other scientists in that area, in that field, or in peripheral fields, they go to war, dude. It is on. And it's this beautiful refining process to try to get to truth, right? But you know who doesn't have a refining process? Politicians in the media. Because they all walked out the next day and said, 14 million people are going to die. And they have no ability, because of ego, because of narrow-minded thinking, short-term thinking, they have no way to go back and say, oh, you know what? The best information we had last week was 14 million people. The latest data tells us it's going to be 10 million. That's a great news, everybody. We're going to keep learning the best we can, doing what we have in our pockets right now, but the number's getting smaller. It's still way too big, but they can't do that. They have to look at each other and start saying, well, you lied. Well, you're stupid. Science is dumb. And it's this crosstalk that happens in marriages, it happens in families, it happens in businesses, it happens in schools, where people are using the same language and they're using it to mean different things. God almighty, if politicians could say these magic words, I'm sorry, I learned new information. I'm changing what I had said the other day, and I'm going this way. And if we all cheered those people, you know why? Because that's wisdom. The ability to say, oh, dude, I got new info, and now I'm wiser, and I'm going to restate something that I said earlier. I'm going to say something differently. I changed my mind, and we all cheered for them. Oh, can you imagine that? If the media was able to come out on a Tuesday after making a big report on Monday and be like, hey, we got that one wrong. Whoopsie-doo. Our bad. We got new information. We screwed that up. Here's the new thing. Oh, we didn't even screw it up. We just tried our best with what we had. And we got new information. All I have to say is say the words, I'm sorry. Be people of wisdom. Be people that said, man, I got new info.